In this true crime documentary, we uncover the terrifying story of Heather Nicole Maples, the hurricane baby.
Hey, it's me. Call me back when you get this. Love you.
911, what's your emergency?
She's not moving. She's cold and she's not moving.
She was born during a hurricane. Her mother said she'd always survive the storm. She was wrong.
She was 22 years old. She had just been accepted to the university she dreamed of. She had a little brother who needed her. She had a whole life sitting at the front door, waiting.
By the morning of August 7th, 2015, that door would never open for Heather Maples again. Heather Nicole Maples came into the world the same night a hurricane tore through Florida, August 23, 1992. Her mother, Jennifer, looked at her newborn daughter in the chaos and called her something that would stick forever.
My hurricane baby. I always said, Heather came in like a storm and lit up every room she walked into.
Born in Ocala, Florida, raised in Dallas, Texas, Heather grew up the kind of girl who noticed the quiet kid in the corner and didn't leave them there.
I was painfully shy. I wouldn't talk to anyone. And Heather just walked up to me like it was the most natural thing in the world. She made the cheer squad. I made the cheer squad. That was Heather.
But Heather's life wasn't without weight. In 2004, her younger brother Ryan was born with a developmental disorder. Heather was only in 7th grade. Most kids her age worried about homework and boys. Heather spent her afternoons teaching her brother to walk, to speak, to eat.
She was still a child herself, but she never treated it like a burden. Ryan was her whole heart.
That devotion to her brother planted a seed. Heather wanted to become a counselor, to help people the way she had helped Ryan. And in the fall of 2015, that dream was finally within reach. But first, she needed a fresh start, and a phone call from an old friend would give her exactly that.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 35 miles southeast of Nashville, a college city, fast-growing, full of young people chasing futures. It was home to Middle Tennessee State University, the largest public university in the state. And by January 2015, it would be home to Heather Maples.
She arrived on January 31st, 2015, 22 years old, her cat Oliver in the back seat, and a dream in her chest. An old high school friend named Chaz had offered her a spare bedroom. She knew no one else in the city. Within weeks, friendship became romance. Within months, that romance turned dangerous.
Chaz grew possessive, jealous, controlling. He believed that because he had brought Heather to Murfreesboro, she belonged to him. Her evenings, her friendships, her choices. Heather did what she always did when something wasn't right. She fixed it. She left. She filed a protection order. By spring, she had moved into her own apartment at the Cove at Center Point. She had a new best friend, a coworker named Kelsey Price, who lived in the same building. She had a job she liked. She had her university acceptance in hand. She was, by every measure, building exactly the life she came here for. But Murfreesboro had a shadow Heather never saw coming. August 6th, 2015, a Thursday, the kind of warm Tennessee night that feels like it was made for being young. That morning, Heather called her mother, talked about the future, talked about Ryan. That afternoon, she went to work. That evening, she told her best friend Kelsey she was heading out, a bar called Gentleman Jim's.
She said, if I don't answer my phone in the morning, just come get me. That's it. I thought nothing of it. I really thought nothing of it.
Around 10 p.m., Heather was at Gentleman Jim's. By midnight, she had moved to a second bar, the Handlebar on East Main Street. By 12:45 a.m., she was back at Gentleman Jim's. And by 11:40 p.m., she had called a man named Michael. Michael was someone she had recently met,
Not close, but trusted enough to call when something felt wrong.
She said she really needed me right now. There's people hitting on her and she's really upset. Michael came. They left together, stopped at a diner, and at approximately 2:15 a.m., he drove Heather home. She walked up the stairs. He watched her go inside. That was the last time anyone who loved her would see Heather Maples alive. Kelsey showed up to work on time. Heather didn't. That wasn't unusual. Heather was never known for her punctuality, but the calls went unanswered. 1, 2, 3.
I went over. The door was unlocked. I called out her name.
She found her best friend face down on the mattress, legs slightly hanging off the right side. She lifted the blanket. She touched Heather's foot.
It was dead cold. And I knew.
By 9:30 a.m., Murfreesboro Police Department officers were on scene. No forced entry, nothing missing. Heather's phone still on the floor. Heather herself, partially dressed, motionless. The medical examiner would later confirm blunt force trauma to the head, strangulation marks on the neck, defensive wounds, a fingernail torn completely off in the struggle, evidence of sexual assault. Heather had not gone quietly. She had fought. She just hadn't won. Detective Tommy Massey would lead this investigation. And the first thing that stopped him cold, a bloody fingerprint, pressed clearly into the surface of the bedsheet. Vivid, defined, damning. It wasn't over. It was just beginning. Investigators moved fast. They started with the people closest to Heather. Michael, the last person to see her alive, walked back to the scene himself, still carrying her apartment key, stepping under the yellow crime scene tape. Officers detained him on the spot. He cooperated immediately, gave his fingerprints, gave a DNA sample. His story matched the surveillance footage from both bars, and the bloody print on the bedsheet? Not Michael. Then came Chaz, the jealous ex-boyfriend who had returned to Murfreesboro unexpectedly the same night Heather was killed. He sat across from investigators for hours, admitted he still loved her, insisted he only worried about her safety. They took his prints, his DNA. Not Chaz either. Then detectives turned to Heather's phone. She had sent a Snapchat to a group of friends at 12:15 a.m., including a man named Artavio. They pulled him in. He was calm, almost too calm. He didn't know Heather was dead. Not only was this girl raped, she's dead. What? His DNA came back clean. His alibi held. He was eliminated. 3 suspects, 3 dead ends, and a bloody fingerprint that still had no name. 8 days in, investigators received the call that breaks every cold trail. The bloody fingerprint had been run through AFIS, the Automated Fingerprint Identification System, the national database that catalogs prints from background checks, job applications, government processing. It matched. Brandon Richmond Bowling, 22 years old, senior at Middle Tennessee State University, no criminal record, clean file. The prints were in the system only because of his job, a delivery driver who'd been fingerprinted as part of routine employment clearance. On paper, he looked like the last person anyone would suspect. Investigators called him in. On August 15, 2015, 8 days after Heather's body was found, Brandon Richmond Bowling was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and sexual assault. Bond, $1 million. He did not pay it. He went to jail. The city of Murfreesboro exhaled, but the worst was still to come. When detectives searched Brandon's home, nothing unusual stood out, but his phone told a story so horrifying, so cold, so calculating, that even seasoned homicide investigators struggled to process what they were seeing. The videos began in June 2015. Brandon had been visiting Heather late at night, drugging her, assaulting her while she was unconscious, recording the attacks. Not once, not twice, 3 times that investigators could confirm. He had done this to someone who trusted him, someone who thought they were friends, someone who had no idea what was happening to her in the night. And on August 6, 2015, investigators believe Heather finally discovered the truth. She confronted him. He strangled her. He struck her head. He recorded that, too. The prosecution added 6 counts of rape, 2 counts of sexual battery, and 2 counts of aggravated rape to an already monstrous charge sheet. 12 counts total. The case that once seemed simple, a bloody fingerprint, a quick arrest, had become something far darker. Brandon Bowling pleaded guilty. 2nd-degree murder, aggravated rape. All remaining charges dropped as part of the plea agreement. The sentence, 40 years for the murder, 15 years for the rape, both running concurrently. He will not be eligible for parole for 4 decades. His release date, October 27, 2053.
I am very thankful that he did plead guilty because it proved he did do it. I did pray for this moment. I wanted it to end this way. I did not want to have to do appeals. I wanted to come back to Murfreesboro and do this one time.
After the hearing, something no one in the room expected. Jennifer Hunter crossed the courtroom and she walked toward Patricia Bowling, Brandon's mother, and she opened her arms.
They are victims too. They didn't plan this. They had hopes for their child, just like we had hopes for ours.
Jennifer Hunter says her daughter had a smile as big as the sun. She also says Heather had one flaw, if you could call it that. She believed there was good in everyone, even after being bullied, even after a controlling boyfriend, even in a city where she knew almost no one. Heather Maples trusted people. She saw the best in strangers. She opened her door because that's just who she was.
She is our first thought in the morning and our last thought at night.
Heather never made it to her first day of college. She never got to become the counselor she dreamed of being. She never got to see her brother Ryan grow up. She was born during a hurricane. Her mother said she'd always survive the storm. She deserved to.
Brandon Richmond Bowling is currently incarcerated at Hardeman County Correctional Facility in Whiteville, Tennessee. His scheduled release is October 27, 2053. Upon release, his name will be permanently listed on the National Sex Offender Registry. Heather Nicole Maples was 22 years old. She is remembered by her mother Jennifer, her stepfather Randy, and her brother Ryan. She is never forgotten.
See you in the